the 11 companies who became great actually had level 5 leaders. So the level 5, what I refer to as internal cohesion or the state of yoga in the Indian language, all the 11 companies actually had level 5 leaders when this transition was initiated. They produce mind-blowing results. So level 5 is the minimum peak of leadership. Coming back to the Amul and Jaipur rugs example, see what I want to say here is it's all about organizational design, right? So we're talking about leaders at their peak now. Now let's touch upon the basis of leadership, leaders at their peak. See, leaders have three peaks: the level 5, level 6, and level 7. These are three peaks that actually make leadership very, very impactful. Okay. And now to look at this, the organizations that are designed by the leaders in the upper triangle are very different. Now, why they are different is let's look at the Amul example. See what kind of personal values are needed to see the pain of the dairy farmers. Yeah. To see the pain of the dairy farmers, what is needed is empathy. Empathy is actually a level 6 value. If you don't have empathy, you will not see the pain of the dairy farmers. Right? Many people did not see, but he saw. Now, what kind of personal values are needed to do something phenomenal about it? It's not just about seeing, it's about acting on that. Now, to act on that, what you need is compassion. Compassion, if you see, is a level 7 value. What kind of personal values are needed to build a cooperative movement? See, building a cooperative movement is the most difficult thing to do, especially in Indian conditions. But to build cooperative movement, what you need is collaboration. Collaboration, again, is a level 6 value. What kind of personal values are needed to be able to ask for help? To be able to ask for help, you need a very high level of humility. Humility is again a level 7 value. What kind of personal values are needed to scale it up and make it a phenomenal brand? You need creativity and passion. Creativity and passion are actually level 5 values. What kind of personal values are needed to design a sustainable model? To build a sustainable model like a cooperative movement, you need integrity, honesty, and trust in the design of your organization. When you are forming your organization, integrity, honesty, and trust have to be the basis of formation of these organizations. And that is why I say that leaders at their peak are phenomenally different. They are phenomenally different because their values are different. These are the values of a very high order. These are the values in people who are very high on consciousness. And therefore, the organizations that are designed by the leaders in the upper triangle are actually very, very different. Now, we are, so I think that's the large part of the presentation. And this is the whole concept of the leaders at their peak. So now we are running close to end of this presentation with just one last topic. Hey, what is a great organization? Now, I think many of you must have heard of Jim Collins, who wrote the book Good to Great. And for Jim Collins, it was largely a quest. And his quest was, how do companies transform from good to great? And for him, it was actually a black box. So he says, I want to open the black box and figure out how does it happen. So he actually looked at 22 companies, 11 companies who went from good to great, and other 11 companies who did not make that transition, who did not become great. And these 11 so the first set of 11 were actually competing with the second set of 11. So he looked at, a peer comparison. What he found out that the 11 companies who became great actually had level 5 leaders. So the level 5, what I refer to as internal cohesion or the state of yoga in the Indian language, all the 11 companies actually had level 5 leaders when this transition was initiated. Whereas the other 11 companies who did not make the transition did not have level 5 leaders. The core difference between the CEOs of those 11 companies were that these 11 CEOs were largely centered around common good. They were largely purpose-oriented. They created purpose-oriented organizations. They created a movement within the organization which made the organization very, very purpose-centric. Yeah. And So that's what Jim Collins found out. And now to look at the relationship between personal values and leadership values. See, basically, if your consciousness is on level 5, you are an inspirational leader. Inspirational leaders have capability to inspire others. These are the leaders who start developing organizational communities. And the leaders who have capability to inspire others and build communities within the organization, they produce phenomenal results. They produce mind-blowing results. So level 5 is the minimum peak of leadership. Level 5 is when phenomenal change happens within the organization as well as outside the organization. Especially in corporate organization, level 5 is the minimum requirement to be a successful and impactful leader. Beyond that is level 6. Then you have some more characteristics. You are a collaborator. You collaborate with other organizations for common good. You create a lot more pillars within your organization towards environmental stewardship. Level 7 is beyond that. Level 7 people say, okay, yes, I've created a wonderful organization. Let me use the wealth that is generated from this wonderful organization. Let me put this wealth to the service of humanity. That's what we call as visionary leaders. So that's where we are. The 4 key learnings from this presentation are vision means to see how things are happening with people on our planet and fundamentally change the way things happen with them. Vision generally arises from your ecosystem. Look for what you can change in your ecosystem. Vision generally arises from certain painful or undesirable experiences. Become aware of your experiences. People with thought processes representing the upper triangle design their life and their organizations differently. Their destiny is in their hands. What is my vision and purpose? My vision is to see more and more organizations becoming great. And my purpose is to help leaders achieve that greatness.